Welcome to the Just Women Sports podcast, where we talk to the biggest athletes in the world about the untold stories behind their success. I'm Kelley O'Hara, and my guest today is Lizzie Armanto. Lizzie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Where are we finding you today?
I'm at home in Long Beach.
Nice. Good weather?
Yeah, it's almost too good. It's like a little bit intense outside, but always better that than like if it was like bad.
Yeah. Gray, rainy.
I don't know. California's kind of all the same.
How's everything been with COVID? Have you been able to skate a lot, or have you kind of had to kind of be in lockdown, that sort of thing?
So it's definitely changed my schedule since the lockdown. In the beginning, like I really wasn't leaving the house, but now I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit more info out there, and I still go out, but obviously, like I think it's important to take like all the necessary precautions. And so I've been skating, but like as far as like my regular schedule, like contests and events and all that stuff is all shut down, and like the Olympics are postponed, and just kind of taking it day by day, and I guess keeping up with like my close family and keeping it simple.
For sure. It's kind of been nice because at least when I was in lockdown, it was like you just were back to basics. You just kind of hung out, hunkered down, and tried to stay healthy. But I'm really excited to have you here today and have you on, just because I'm interested to see the similarities and differences that we're going to come up with between, me being a soccer player, you being a professional skateboarder. And I think one of the most interesting things is how unscripted the path is to becoming a pro skater. Whereas with soccer, it's like very scripted. It's you have like a progression that you can go on, and as opposed to, I feel like with you guys, it's kind of more free. And you're a unicorn in the skating world. You're good at everything. You win contests. You're going to the Olympics. You have major street cred for all the videos you've been in the magazine covers. So I'm really excited to dig into it today with you. So to start off, how did you get into skating?
Well, I started skating in Santa Monica, and it was when I was like 14, and I have a younger brother, and he's like 6 years younger than me, and he wanted to try skating, and we'd owned skateboards, but it was literally to buttboard down the hill we lived on before. And
wait,
then,
you were 14 when you started skateboarding?
like when I started learning how to like actually skate, like stand up on it and be like, oh, like we're gonna go skate somewhere.
Okay.
And pretty much my mom signed us up for our local park. It was like a mile down the street we lived on, and it just kind of became like our after school place.
That's sweet. Is 14 late to start? I feel like it's late because I feel like in most like extreme sports, kids start younger. They get into it, and it's kind of like you don't have any fear, so you try things and you get good at it at a young age. But 14 seems late to me.
14's definitely late. Like if I'm comparing myself to like a lot of the other people that like have a career in skateboarding, like most of them have like had a skateboard for as long as they've known to walk, or maybe even before. And we totally see that today. Like that's super common, and they even make boards for little kids. But I think at the time, I don't know, like I didn't really have like my own thing. Like I was into arts and crafts and stuff, but obviously I was also like athletic, but I just didn't have anything to really channel that. And I think when I found skateboarding, it was just like there's so much creative freedom that you can like do. Like you can pretty much just do your own thing at the skate park. Like there's no rules. You just go and skate. And sometimes like going and skating like involves like sitting down and hanging out. And then other times it's just like not sitting down for the whole day.
Yeah, totally. When did it go from, oh, this is a hobby, hanging out with my little brother, going down to the park, to like, this is my thing?
I want to say like around that age, like I don't know, like any teenager is just like kind of trying to find themselves. And like I would go to the skate park with my brother, but then it would be like, okay, like you go do your own thing. I'm going to like go do my thing. And I don't know, like it just kind of became like the place that I wanted to be, and I would just like push myself. And I think in the beginning, like I didn't learn tricks and stuff. Like it was more just like getting, I don't know, like doing it and just like carving around and like kind of like I wasn't good, but I was just having fun.
For
And
sure.
then when I don't know, like at some point I started getting boards from a local like company, Santa Monica Airlines, and the team manager had asked me if I wanted to go skate this contest in Orange County at the block. And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Like, I'm down for whatever. And then it ended up being like the biggest bowl pool contest of the year.
No way.
And
And you had no idea?
well, I mean, I when I started going there and seeing like the people that were like skating and like like practicing for this event, I was like, this is crazy. Like all these people are like so eclectic, and I was into it. And so I was like, oh, this is sick. And then that was like my first taste of like the industry and like the contest scene.
So that was your first competition that you got into.
Yeah, and that was 2 years after I'd like just started skating.
That's crazy. I feel like that's a very big leap from just like going to the skate park to then entering a competition.
It is, but then at the same time, like I feel like at the time, like the Santa Monica skate park, like there was pros that went there. Like it was probably the biggest, like it had the biggest skate scene for like the area, like at a skate park. Like obviously like street, there's like different disciplines in skateboarding. There's street and you can do that wherever, but
Mm-hmm.
like on the west side, that was like the biggest park. And I remember on like Wednesdays and like Fridays, like it would get packed, and like it was like a zoo. And it was like, I don't know, if you're a kid, you're like, this is awesome. Like we're all gonna go train around the park in circles.
Yeah. Was it intimidating going to the skate park as one, a kind of like a rookie, a newbie in the sport, and you're getting your feet wet and learning, but then on top of it, being a female and being in a place that's at that point probably predominantly male? I know that it's changing, but was that intimidating?
I mean, I feel like when you're like younger, like I want to say like I was like a young 14. Like I wasn't trying to like, I don't know. Like I was just being a kid. I don't know. Like I didn't care about like going to the mall. It was more like, oh, I just want to do whatever and like go draw or like, I don't know, just dude, I want to say dumb stuff, but it's not dumb.
For
And
sure. You want to have fun.
I don't like going to the skate park and having my brother, like I really just felt like, oh, like he's with me. I'm not by myself. Or like eventually my neighbor started skating with me, and like there's like a handful of girls, and like for me the focus wasn't like, oh, like I'm the only girl here, I stick out like a sore thumb. It was mostly like everyone's here on their own terms, and like was there to go skate. And I was like, yeah, I'm here doing the same thing as everyone else.
Totally. Do you feel like being in that environment helped you to kind of excel quickly because you're around all of these professional skaters and in like what you said is the best scene in terms of skating on the west side?
For like Santa Monica, like LA area, yeah. I want to say like definitely that influenced me, because like I don't know, like just seeing that like high level of skating, like I just thought it was normal. And so I was like, oh, you just skate and you do it, and like everyone does these things. And so like I even remember like learning a trick. I was like, whoa, like that was crazy. Like I only thought people that were like really good did that. And then I was like, I guess I can do it. Like that's like there's this like weird like revelation almost that at some
Totally.
point like I had. And then I was like, oh no, I guess like you just do everything and it's like normal. Like I think in your head you can make up like these invisible barriers, but if you're just like, I don't know, at some point you just do these things. Like most of the time at the skate park, like I remember I would just like skate with a lot of the older guys, and they'd be like trying like here and there, and it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna try that too. And like I don't know, maybe like I learn a trick, or like I'll just try something else that's similar, and you just like push each other.
Yeah. So when you're learning, especially in the early stages, when you're still getting fundamentals, was it like you see somebody do a trick, you want to do that, and you just watch them and kind of learn from visuals, or is it, because we've had another podcast where we talked to Chloe Kim, professional snowboarder, and there's a lot of visualization in the mind of like practicing it before you try it? Or are you the type that you'll see somebody else do something and you're like, oh, that's sweet, I want to do it too, and then you just go try it? Or is it like, what's the progression like to learn a trick?
Like, one, when you see it, you're like, I don't know, like sometimes they make sense and sometimes they don't, but a lot of it's just like, hey, how do you do that? Like, I feel like the local if you're going there every day and you're like seeing the same faces, you're just like, hey, I see you every day. Like, at some point you guys are friends, and then you're just like, how do you do that one thing? Like, I think I could do it. And then the rest is like you just going for it and trying it. And a big part of that is like being able to visualize yourself doing these like new things. And I think like in skateboarding especially, there's like, for someone that's like starting from ground zero, like just getting like a drop in is like a big deal. And then it's like, oh, okay, like you just learn, like go from like the next like inch up and like work your way all the way around the park, and then you like start learning new tricks. And it's always just that, I guess, that mindset of like pushing yourself, or like maybe your friends like doing something new and you're just like inspired, and so you like want to do the same.
For sure. What was the skate park culture like when you first got into it?
I mean,
is it still similar today? Do you feel like it feels exactly the same, or do you feel like it's changed over time?
I feel like it's definitely different. Like even just going to like my home park in Santa Monica, like it was very different from like the surrounding areas, just because like there was someone who like worked the counter and you'd have to sign in and like wear like full pads and stuff. And for like most skateboarders, like they're not, I don't know, it's like you can go to the skate park for free. Like,
yeah, wait, you have to pay?
But it was, yeah, you did. And right now it's still shut down, but you do. It's just like one of those, like, Santa Monica's weird and they just like make you pay to skate. But it also kept out a lot of like just like riffraff and people just like hanging out. Like, you're not gonna go pay to lurk, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. I feel like every skate park I've ever seen has been just open to the public.
There's just a handful of them that like are pay to skate. And also it's like it's changed. Like there was parks in the past that I know that you had to pay and now they're free, and it's just, I don't know, times change and people realize like, oh, this maybe doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like if you had to pay to go use like the basketball court at your like local park.
For sure. That's interesting because like if you think about skating, you feel like it's super accessible to everybody because you can, like you said, there's different disciplines. You can do skate park, you can do street, that sort of thing. And something in soccer is there's not that many accessible grass fields to go play on. They're usually like fenced off, only allowed for, certain clubs or teams and that sort of thing. But it's interesting to know that that happens in skate too, that you can't get everywhere you want to go. So when did you decide you wanted to be a pro skater? So you skated for 2 years and then you said you got hooked up with like a local shop. They gave you boards, or they brought you to the competition? How did that work?
So it was a board company, and they just they had like pros and stuff. So there was like other people on the team that I like looked up to, and they would skate the park all the time. And I don't know, I think if you get into skating, like I feel like any little kid or anybody would be like, oh, the idea of being like paid to just like go ride a skateboard, like that sounds awesome. Like what's not to like about that? And so I think in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, this would be cool. But then I never really put that much thought into it, just because at the time there wasn't other females, or like, I don't know, there still isn't like a specific path to follow, but it's definitely more accessible and like manageable.
What was the roadmap back then? Or was there any? Were you just kind of winging it?
I mean, I feel like you just made, like, I don't know, for me, like back then there wasn't that like people just like living off skateboarding. Like the few people that maybe were the people that skated contests, and even then like the contest prize purses were like really sad, especially when you compare them to the men's. And I don't know, for me, I started skating contests, and then I like met more people in the industry, and you know, in time, like you just kind of like, if you just keep progressing and like doing your own thing, like people take notice, and then they like start flowing you. And it got to the point where I was like flowed by a bunch of companies. Like I had my whole like skateboard setup, and I could just like get as many as I needed. And like I had shoes, I had pretty much everything you needed, but there was no like financial backing to it like the men's side might have. And I remember I was going to college, and I was going to community college. I was just like, this is what you do. You graduate high school, and then you go to college and figure out what you want to do with your life. And I was like, dang, I skating is way more fun. And like, I was doing good at contests. Like by 2010, like I was like winning like most of the events I was going to. And then by 2014, or like the end of 2013, I was like, okay, like going to school, going to college, this isn't that sick. I'm kind of like doing half good at, but I don't know, I was just like not really doing that good at school because I was still kind of skating, and then still trying to like skate events and do that, but then still focusing on school and trying to like send in like assignments by deadlines on different time zones. Like, I don't know, it was crazy. And so there's people that do that
go and to school and are professional skaters.
Yeah, or there's people that like are professional skaters that like fully went to college and like have a whole backup plan, which is like, if you're smart, you do that. Obviously, skateboarding, like there's so many stories of people just like, yeah, at like whatever age they just stop going to school. And I don't know, like I don't think that's like the way to go. Like you should be able to have all your basics down.
College?
I did it. So end of 2013, I was like, okay, I'm going to film a video part. And then like the first time I went to go film, I like fell like warming up, like just like not really doing anything. And I like tore my PCL, and I didn't know it at the time. Like I just slammed really hard, and I was like, something's wrong. And it doesn't feel like it should feel at all. And so pretty much I like end up getting an MRI, and then eventually finding out like, okay, don't have a PCL. There's not like, you don't have to get surgery for it. Like it doesn't really make sense. And so I was like, okay, I just need to go to like PT and get stronger. And from that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit school and just go to PT, and then like pursue skateboarding and like make it like my goal to like see if this is going to work out. And I told my parents, and my mom was like, and my stepdad, they're just like, so you're hurt and you can't skate and you want to focus on skating? And I was like, yeah, like I'm not doing school. They're like, why don't you just take more classes? You can't skate. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
I was just about to ask if you sat down your parents or your family and said like, here's the deal, I want to be a pro skater. And it's crazy that you did it when you got hurt. And the reaction probably like wasn't, like you're saying, wasn't the best.
No, it wasn't. But then at the same time, like my mom, I feel like she's very independent. And so like she's also headstrong to a certain degree. And so I have a tinge of that. And I was like, yeah, like I'm your daughter, I'm going to do this.
Totally. I have so much respect for that you like being in almost a valley of life and then deciding like, no, this is actually what I want to pursue. Even when you're kind of back against the wall, injured, having to do PT, and you make the decision to go pro. It's pretty, I feel like that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it was, especially for the time, like when there was just like, I don't know, you're kind of desert where you're just like, yeah, there's no one else doing this. Like, good luck.
Did you were there people in the skate scene that you looked up to in terms of females? So really there wasn't anybody who's doing it like you wanted to do it?
There was definitely girls at the time who were like ripping, and like it was kind of around the time when like X Games had like vert, like they threw like a women, they did vert contests, and then they had like men's and women's vert, but then it was about the time when they like had just canceled everything, and so they're like, I don't know, that was
Canceled
like the
everything
only event where
canceled everything, sorry, on the women's side or in general?
on the women's side.
Okay. And they so they didn't even have vert, or like there were no competitions for the women, or it was just vert?
I mean, X Games was the only competition where like they paid like decent money. And it was like, okay, they just cut us out. And like I never even got to skate the vert contest. And like vert wasn't even my forte. Like I got into that a little bit later.
Can you explain what vert is? Because people will listen and not know what that is.
Yeah, of course. So vert is like half pipes. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty much just like, it looks like a U. And
perfect.
what I skate is just like so many different mixed obstacles. You'd have to really see it. But there's street, which is like, I don't know, there's people that jump downstairs or jump on handrails and just basically out in the streets, literally.
Yes, correct.
And okay, so X Games is like kind of like cutting the vert, and like there's like park skating kind of coming up. Like back then it was like mostly pool skating. They'd have like bowl and pool events. And then, like I said, everything's like shutting down, and it's just kind of like, oh, we're in like a lull. But
this is the same time that this is like coinciding with you deciding I want to go be pro and pursue this.
Yeah, but even at the time, like I said, the women that were skating, like they weren't being like fully backed up by their sponsors to like have this their career. Like a lot of them had like jobs that they were working on the side, and then they'd go skate pro events when they would come around, and if they got like extra money, or if the event would pay for them to get there and back, like that was enough. Crazy. But pretty much I got better.
Is flow, does flow mean sponsored?
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I'm just using all these terms.
No, I love it. I think it's so fascinating. It's super cool, but I just want people to understand, because I think I understand, but I want you to explain it.
So let's say that I'm a board company, and like you're ripping, and like I have this team going, and then like I want to send you some product, but that doesn't mean you're on the team, because we're just like hooking you up because we think you're cool. And it could just end at like, hey, you got one box or whatever. Or it could be like, oh, whenever you need boards, just like ask us. And then eventually it'll be like, hey, you've been riding for us and we think you're really cool and we want to market you. So we're making you AM. And now you're like an amateur on the team.
Okay.
And then once you're amateur on the team and you like prove yourself through like either events or video parts or just like ripping, then at some point they surprise you, or most of the time they surprise you with like a board and it has your name on it and like a really cool graphic, and like then you're a professional and you have your name on a board.
Okay. Fascinating. That's so interesting. So you go from almost being like trial period, we're going to send you free stuff, and then they make you AM, which is amateur, which
but you get paid.
You do. Okay. That's what I was going to ask. Okay. You get paid
because you're getting marketed.
Okay. So you're getting marketed, and then they present you if they like you enough, if they're like, oh yeah, we want this girl or this person on our team, then you become pro.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. So what was that?
Like whatever like company, like let's say you're right. Like what shoes do you wear?
I wear Under Armour.
Okay. So like, do they make shoes? I'm sorry if that's a dumb question. No. So they're like, yeah, okay, we're going to make you like, you're pro, like here's your own shoe. Like totally. That's like them giving you product, and you're like,
okay, so pro AM, you're just like repping we're riding somebody else's board or a board in the company.
Yeah.
And then pro, you get your own
You're
board.
riding your own board. Yeah. And then you have like a say in your graphics and all these things.
That's amazing. So what was that? What was that like for you?
More responsibility.
Why is it more responsibility?
Because now every like whatever, like there's like 4 quarters in a year, and so like every quarter, depending on how your board company works, it's like, okay, well, so what do you want to do for graphics for like the next couple quarters? Like you have to have like these things ready, or at least if you're in my case. Otherwise, like if you're just on the team, I feel like sometimes like the artists or like the in-house graphics guy, they'll just like do series, and then they're like, yeah, like this one fits you, right? And you're just like, sure.
They show you two and you pick one, basically.
They just show you like the boards, and they're like, yeah, we feel like this one's like you, like, do you like it? And pretty much you're just like, yeah, I guess.
Is that how the process is for you, or do you like to have input on your designs?
I like to have input on my stuff. Like sometimes I do team graphics because I want to be included with the team, but then I also kind of like just venture off and do like one-off like miscellaneous boards that on art that I'm just into. But I have it set up like that with like my board sponsor, Birdhouse. And they're like super cool about me just running my own program, but also being with the team.
That's awesome. So I can buy a Lizzie Armanto board out there.
Yeah.
Sweet. But so there's a new one every couple months.
Pretty much.
Very
And
cool.
I swear it's like whatever new one is coming out, like no one knows about it till forever. And then like after it's been out for like a year or two and they stop printing it, people are just like, where's that one graphic that like came out? I just saw it. Like it's so sick. And it's just like, you're late.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it is with cleats in soccer. Some companies do a different colorway like every couple months, every 2 or 3 months, and they want you in the newest color. And it's like, but I want that version, or I want that color, which is funny. So, okay. When did you realize, at what point in the flow, am, and then pro, at what point were you like, okay, I have it? Like, was that when you got hurt? When did you realize like I have it and I can go really far in this?
Pretty much I just like, I don't, like I said, I got hurt. I didn't want to, I was like doing whatever in school. And so I was like, okay, I just want to like, I'll just try to be a pro skater. Like, and I ended up going to physical therapy, and I also got a manager, which is like not common for the time. Like, and especially in skateboarding, like skateboarding is very much like I don't know, like I think it's important like each person manages like their relationship with their sponsors, but also like when it comes time to like do deals and stuff, like I don't want to be the one saying like how much I'm worth. I also like a lot of that stuff's over my head. Like I'm not from a marketing background. And so
But
that's
it
why
is
I felt
it's
like
uncommon to have a manager.
it's common.
Okay.
But at that time it was like skateboarding was like still different world.
Yeah. So what made you decide to get one?
I was just getting miscellaneous like emails from different like companies or like events and things, and I had like all these opportunities, and I just didn't know how to like like navigate them all. It's like not by myself, and so I just felt like it was the time, and my friend like helped me find somebody, and luckily it was like the first person I found, and he was like awesome, and like I still work with him, and like compared to a lot of the other people out there, like I'm really happy like we have like the relationship we do. And like, but pretty much so I found my manager, and then he reached out to all my sponsors who I was getting product from, but no one was paying me.
So you're
And
flowing
like
at that point.
yeah, I was just on flow.
Okay, on flow.
Yeah, and then he like helped like negotiate like, hey, so like let's get Lizzie paid, and like how can we like move forward and like figure out like where she fits on this program, because back then they weren't marketing like to women at all, like women's skateboarding, like it was so small. But then at the same time, like I've had friends who worked for shoe brands, and like the women's category they like would start to like do marketing for, and it would be like the fastest to grow, but then it would be first to get cut when like there came budgets.
No way.
So it was just like, I don't know, there was like a lot of different things that were just like, I think I'm making the right move. And I think like from having those friends, like I was able to navigate.
For sure. That's crazy. So do you feel like that's changing though now that companies will realize their women's line or marketing to women is growing the business the fastest, but they're still cutting. Like, is that still happening, or is it starting to change?
The cutting part that's I think right now, or just like everything's been growing so much, so there hasn't been that. But like I said, it was like in that time where it was like 2014, like people are like, and like I said, they stopped doing like the women's event, like vert contest, and then they stopped like they were just cutting people.
That's crazy. So there's a whole generation of skaters, including you, that have created and like ridden this wave of exploding women's skateboarding. What do you think has led to this shift?
I think part of it's been like a big meet in the middle. Like, I think part of it is like women's anything has been like, I don't know, like a lot more attention has been put towards that. Like, I feel like now more than ever in history, it's been like the best time to be a woman. Like, there's so many like positives going on, and that, and then also like sponsors kind of figuring out like how to like communicate and like have like that relationship. Because I think before it was like, I don't know, I guess it's funny to say this stuff, but it was just like back then I feel like at the skate park, like it was just like you had your group of friends and there was like other people at the park, and like if they weren't your friends, it was like, oh, this is my crew and that's their crew, and like blah, blah, blah. Like there's all this like weird like cliques and stuff, and there still can be cliques at skate parks, but I think right now it's like definitely more like open and kind of accepting. Like you'll still run into like dummies here and there that are just like whack, like that's in all walks of life, but
For sure.
I don't know, that's just, you can't let like one person be like, I don't know, what's it called, like be the example for everything.
Yeah, makes sense. So we got connected to you through Tony Hawk, which, what a legend. And I know he's a mentor of yours. How important has that relationship been for you?
Tony's been super awesome, just in the sense of like or actually I have to backtrack a little bit. So I told you like in the beginning I was riding for like this local company like Santa Monica Airlines and getting boards, and then my close friend Jeff Grosso, he was pretty much, he was a pro in the 80s and like pretty much like skated his whole life, and he just passed away. But
I know I watched an interview of you guys together, and I'm so sorry for that, for your loss, because he seemed amazing. Even just in that one video, I was like, oh, this guy's rad. Like he just seemed an incredible person.
Yeah, he's crazy, but in like a good way.
Yeah.
But I remember he asked me like if you wanted to be on any company, what company would you be on? And at the time I like looked at all the companies and I was just like, where would I fit? Because at the time like there wasn't women on core companies, and like at the time street skating was really popular, so like not even my discipline was like really out there. I mean, it was like obviously it existed, but it wasn't like how it is today, like coverage wise. And I thought about Birdhouse, which is Tony's company, and it's because like, oh, they have transition and they have street, and I just felt like it was like a balanced team, and like everything I saw, everyone like seemed really cool. And I reached out to like friends of friends, and I was like, yeah, like I want to get on Birdhouse, like can someone just like tell somebody that knows somebody there? And like ended up like a bit later, like Tony reached out to me and I got on the team. And like, I don't know, like I had seen him at the skate park before, but it's not like, I don't know, just because there's some person at the skate park that, you know, it's not like, oh yeah, we're friends. He said hi to me and introduced himself.
So how'd you get connected with him?
Just through like friends of friends, and then like he hit me up and started sending me boards, and I was like, yeah, like this yeah, that sounds cool, like you should come to these events. And pretty much just he early on was like, yeah, I want to like flow you boards, and like I also like I want to put you on the team, and like I want to like I don't know, like I want to have you on the team with everyone, which wasn't like a thing at the time. And I don't know, I remember like even in the beginning I was like, that's really awesome, but also like I wonder if like the other guys will like me, like if they'll think I'm like cool or like whatever. But
And how'd that end up? Did you like, do you get to know the other people on the team?
yeah, like we ended up going to like I remember the first times we all like met up together was like a demo, and it was in like Cincinnati, and I was only there.
What's demo?
A demo is like a like a demonstration.
Okay.
So you go to like a skate park, and then you like kind of put the word, like Tony will like put the word out, and whoever's like sponsoring it will put the word out, and then people can go to their park, and then we'll all just like go skate there.
Cool.
And then yeah, just go skate people's parks. And I don't know, I met all the people on the team, and I was like really timid and shy. Like I don't know, like I still am, but like not to the extent I was. And I don't know, everyone was like super nice to me, and we ended up like having like a hair dye party at the hotel like that night, and I dyed everyone's hair. It was insane.
That's awesome. That's so fun. So you eventually end up becoming pro for Birdhouse.
Yeah. So now a few years later, like I pretty much, it was like I was working on a video part with Thrasher, and it came out, and then like right like around that same time they like surprised me with the board, and I was living like right next to my friend who has a vert ramp, and like she always has sessions there. In fact, like we're also working on a video for Birdhouse, so I was like doing a Thrasher part and then also filming for the Birdhouse video. So that was like kind of like a stacked plate.
Yeah.
And I remember like Tony was like, yeah, we're gonna do like my intro at like the vert ramp like right next to like where you're living. Just come by at this time. And I was like, I had slammed so hard like the week before, and I was like still messed up. And I was like, oh, Tony's intro part, whatever. I guess I just like have to go there to like show face, and like I'll just show up late because like all the dudes are always late, and I'm like, I can't really skate right now, and so I'll just like take my time. And my boyfriend is also a pro skateboarder, and he knew, and so he's like, people are texting him, and like I don't know, like I don't know any of this because like he knows they're gonna like surprise me with the board. And
yeah,
I don't know, I'm just like taking my time, and I didn't know this, but I'm like stressing him out, and he's like, he doesn't really skate the stuff I skate, so he can't even be there like to say like, hey, I want to go skate, or like it's not even his thing, it's like it's my thing, but he knows, and he just has to figure out how to get me out of the house.
Yeah.
But eventually I show up and we go, and everyone's like really nice to me and saying hi, and I'm just like, oh, this is sick, like, well, everyone's here, like this is so nice. And I like try to go skate, and like on my first run I slam, like just like doing something super basic, and then on the next run I like try to do something, and then I end up like bailing and then sliding off the vert ramp, like it's like not like, I don't know, like it was literally like I was just like, rah, like flew out the vert ramp. Like I was like, okay, like I'm having a day. And then by the next run I end up slamming again, like I fully just like hang up on a backside air, and my elbows, like I have a swell bow. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like the bursa sacks and
oh yeah,
the bursa sacks in your elbows swell, so it looks like your elbows like has an egg in it.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, like I think I just need to chill. Like Tony has to like film his thing. Like I'm gonna go sit down. There's people sitting down, so I'm just gonna stop this. This is crazy. And then I just remember like Tony's wife like ends up like trying to like sit down and like talk to me, and so like just to get me to like stay in one place. And obviously I don't know anyone's like choreographing any of this, like yeah. They're just like, keep Lizzie on the ramp. And then so I end up like sitting next to her, and then like people are skating, and then Jeff is skating, and then he falls, and he like is just getting off of like a back surgery from like earlier in the year, or maybe a neck surgery. It was some gnarly surgery, and I was just like, oh god, Jeff fell. And he's kind of the dude where he falls and you just like give him his time, and then like Tony's like walking from behind him and he's like, Jeff, are you okay? Jeff, you okay? And then Jeff's just like walking all slow, and then he like pulls out like the mag, and I'm just like, what's going on? I'm like, Tony, you shouldn't do that. And then Jeff pulls out the mag, and like it's the Thrasher where like I'm on the cover and it's at that ramp. And then
That's
I was
so
just like, oh,
sweet.
this is crazy.
Were you
I was like,
shocked?
yeah, just because like there isn't, like, it looked photoshopped to me at first, just because there
Really?
isn't girls on mags. Like, it not like, I don't know. Last time there was a girl on the cover of Thrasher was like when I was a baby. Like,
No
I was probably born
way.
like 2 or 3 months before it. So it's been
That's
a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can you, not to interrupt your story because I know what happens next, but the Thrasher cover is totally unique to the world of skateboarding. And any other sport magazines covers are nice, but like Thrasher is a genuine accomplishment. So can you explain what that means, like in the world of skating, to be on the cover of Thrasher?
It's being on the cover of Thrasher is pretty much like, it's like being on the cover of the Bible, like in skateboarding terms.
That's so good.
And like, I don't know, like, it's just one of those things that like there's so many deserving people that like should be on a cover, and like that, like not everyone, there's only 12 covers a year, you know?
Yeah,
And so it's just, it's such an honor to like be a part of that and to be like highlighted.
for sure. Okay, so you get presented the cover of Thrasher. You're the first female skater on it since you were a baby. And then what happens?
And then Tony like comes up, and then he just like pulls this like deck from behind his back, and it's like my board. And I don't know, like I was just like, so like, I don't know, just kind of like frozen. Like I just like did, I feel like when all these things happen, I just don't know how to process it. Like, and then like all of a sudden my mom comes out, and then I just like, I just start crying because I was like, I don't know what to do, and just being like a full baby. But it was so cool to like just see everyone there, and like, I don't know, I guess like it's just such like, I feel like that's the moment, like if you want to be a pro skateboarder, that you wait for. And I
For
got like
sure.
kind of like a double in the sense that I got like the Thrasher cover and like a board with my name on it at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a amazing day in your career for sure. Um,
Yeah, I couldn't
my,
even skate that day.
I know, yeah, you had what'd you call it? A swell bow? A swell bow?
Yeah, I had a swell
Yeah.
bow.
Um, so what I find interesting is like those two things. I guess in soccer, if you had like your custom cleat come out or something like that, that'd be pretty sweet. And like obviously being on a magazine cover is cool, but in skating it like means so much more because skating is so much about culture. But then you also have this juxtaposition of competing, and you won X Games Barcelona 2013. You won gold. So can you compare like what was that experience like, and how do you weigh those two different things, competing and then like culture accomplishments?
For me, I feel like like I've spent so much more time like competing that I'm like, oh, like I kind of just know how it all works. Like, like with the game, like you just, the ins and outs of it. And it's just a matter of like everything coming together and like being in sync for it to like work. And then like, you come out on top.
For sure.
And like, I guess in my head, the way that I like digest like competing is like, you just have to do 15 minutes of your best, or like whatever, 20 minutes, like whatever the final is. And then like if you end up like on like, being ranked first, then I don't know, it's cool. But I don't know, I kind of like, I don't even go that far as like, I pretty much just set like this thing in my head of like, if I can do these things, then I've done my best. And if like whatever the judges like choose, then I don't know, like I have an idea of like where I'm at with things, but then in the end, like if I just do my personal best, that's what matters. So like there's even been times where I've won events and I felt like really weird about it, just because I was like, I know I didn't meet my personal best. And like, I don't know, sometimes I get so caught up, like, I don't know, like, especially in competitions where it's just like everything's so intense that like, I don't know, I get caught up in my own like head.
Do you
With
get
that thing.
stressed when you're in competitions?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just like I like turn into a different person in the sense that I'm just like tunnel vision, and like I just turn off like so many different things into just like focusing, and like only certain things exist in real life at that point. And it's even been challenging with my boyfriend, who like he's skating contests too, and like we'll both be in like our own contest mode, and like the way we deal with things are totally different. Like I pretty much am like, don't talk to me, don't do anything, like I'm in my own head, and then nothing else exists. And he's just like, I'm skating a contest and I need extra attention, like I need people to like help me, I'm nervous. And I don't know, it's definitely been like a challenge, I guess. Like in the beginning it was really challenging to figure out like how do we work with each other when we're both being lunatics.
So you become hyper focused when you get into competition. Do you enjoy that? Like, even though it's stressful, is that something, do you enjoy the aspect of like, oh, there's something to win here?
I I enjoy contests, especially like, I don't know, when you feel like 100% or like as good as you could feel. Like after that, it's just kind of like going through the motions and like just letting it all happen. Obviously, you're in control, but it's almost like, I don't know, in skateboarding, everything works when you're not thinking. And so I'm like hyper focused, but I'm also just like, it's almost like you're on autopilot sometimes.
For sure. Makes sense. I feel like that's similar with any sport. You know, you get into a flow where you're not even really thinking, you're just doing because you've practiced it so much that, like you said, you're on autopilot. What's the vibe of X Games like? Because I feel like in extreme sports, you're obviously competing. There's medals on the line. There's a first place spot on the line, but it does seem like there's a lot of hyping up of each other because, you know, you pull off a crazy trick or something like that. So is it a camaraderie aspect there, or are you like, nope, I don't want to talk to anybody, I'm focused, I want to win, I want to beat you all?
I feel like with my friends, I just like, I don't know, there's like like absolute, like a lot of the times like I know all the girls, but like I feel like with my close friends, it's like there's a lot of camaraderie. And like, I don't know, like some of my favorite contests are like when I'm skating with my best friend and she's like she's having a good day, because that hypes me up to like push myself even further. And like at that point, like I don't even care who wins, you know, like it's just so much fun to just like skate with your buddies and like see everyone just like pushing their all. And a lot of the times like at events, like if you see someone pushing their own personal limits, it's like I'm stoked for them to win, like they deserve it. And like it's so cool to just see like them pushing themselves and like their energy and like self-expression.
For sure. Makes sense. I feel like you're kind of on a team, even though you're competing against each other, but um, you do want to see like the people that you are friends with be successful. So, okay, got to talk to you about the loop. You're the only female to ever skate the loop. And when I first read about this, I thought it was like a trick, in the sense of you were doing a 360 in the air and they're like, oh, it's so crazy, it's so hard to do. I was like, I feel like most skaters could probably do a 360 in the air in terms of like just staying straight up and doing a turn. But the loop is a vertical 360-degree loop like you see on roller coasters. And
It's like a Hot Wheels track.
yeah, and you're going through it on your board. So like, one, why is it so difficult and dangerous? I mean, once you see it, you're like, okay, that looks very dangerous and very difficult. But how did you do that? What made you want to do that?
Well, with the loop, like Tony owns his own loop. There's loops all around the world. There's natural loops. Like there's people that are like now just like going into ditches and finding like full pipes and just looping them like in the wild. Like that's so gnarly and so crazy. but he has one, and he asked me like a while ago, like he's like, hey Lizzie, like would you want to do the loop? And I was just like, so I don't know, like when he asked me that, like everything was just like, like, do I want to do the loop? Like, is that something you want to do? I mean, apparently there's people, they see these things and they want to do them like that, but when I heard about it, I was like, that just sounds crazy. I don't know, like I guess I'll think about it. And I pretty much told him like, I just need to see it, and then I'll know if I want to like even just like attempt it. Otherwise, like I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. And he was kind of just, his response to me was that, well, with the loop, like people know if they want to do it or not. And I was just like,
Really?
I don't know. Like, he's like, all the people that do it, like they know they want to do it. And I was just like, when I look at it, I'm like,
Do you feel like he was pushing you? Do you feel like that response was him being like, no, you got to want this to make it happen?
No, I don't know. I personally think he's just like going off of experience. Like he's probably the most like experienced person with the loop. Like he's had some of the worst slams on it, and he's witnessed a lot of the like worst slams on it. So I don't know. Like I was pretty much just, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Just let me know. Let me know when you like pull it up.
Yeah. So you show up and you just like walk up and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to try it today.
So it's been like, he sends out this like Instagram DM and he's like, yeah, like we're putting up the loop. And I was like, I guess I'm going to go. And he ends up getting this like VR company to like set up a live, and there's like a crowd. There's like he's announcing with like another person, and there's a whole bunch of people that are just like there to try it. And it's like the most opposite of like ideal situations, because it's so gnarly, and it's like you don't want to be distracted, you want to be focused, and there's just a ton of people and things going on. Like there's like 101 things to be distracted by. But the day before they set it up, and like they allowed everyone to just like try it, and it had like, they threw in all these pads, and also they added more pads because there was one person on the previous session that like got shot out the loop into the parking lot, and like pretty much just like on the concrete, just like cased, and that ended up in like them going and breaking like a bone, but they're okay. But I was like, initially I was like, oh, that's scary, like I don't know if I want to do it just because of that. But then they got more pads, and I was like, okay, I guess I just have to try it. And when I saw it in person, I was like, that thing's crazy. Like it's 14 feet tall, and then the roll-in I think is 16 feet tall, so like it's big.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's one thing, like I don't know, like you know what it is you have to do, but it's just a matter of like allowing yourself to do it. And I remember I tried it, and I was like, okay, like just trying it is scary, but it's not that bad. I just like catapult myself into a bunch of pads. Obviously my skateboard comes catapulting at me too sometimes, but it's not that bad. And I pretty much was just like trying to figure out, how do I stick to the wall? And I started just like watching people, and like the people that had the technique, I would like look at them, and then anyone else that didn't, I was just like, I pretended they just like didn't exist. And there was people like that were freaking out. Like there's like grown men like in line, and they're just like reeking with like nerves, and it's so hard to not let that mess you up. Like it's almost contagious. And so it took like a lot of mental strength to just be like, this isn't happening.
So, but you slammed on your first couple attempts without the pads.
Okay, so wait, I have to say, like, hey, they throw the event, people are skating, there's this line, people are like, I don't know, there's like all these things going on. Then someone's like, okay, I want to do it, and then pretty much they start pulling pads out so that the people that are close can do it, and I'm just like, I have no business because I don't have the technique, like I'm gonna go chill. And then they finish the event. There's like a handful of people that like, there's 3 people that do it that day or at the thing, and then like the events where people start leaving, and then like probably a little bit after, I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna go skate it. Like they're done with like all the stuff going on. And then a couple people start skating it with, or like Tony pretty much is like tells everyone like Lizzie's gonna skate the loop, and then they're like, no, we were gonna take it down, like the timing and stuff, and like we just want to pack up and go home. And then Tony's like, no, Lizzie's gonna skate it, like she wants to skate the loop, she's gonna skate the loop. And pretty much like I start skating and then trying to figure it out, and then after a bit, my friend is like, yeah, you just like you don't do anything, you just like lock your legs. And I was like, wait, so I know you said don't pump, but like you mean like at all, like no, like. And then I don't pump at all, and then it starts working, and I was like, oh, that's so dumb, I know you told me to do that, but then I guess I wasn't not doing the thing you told me to do.
What does pump mean? Like you're like going up and down kind of, right?
So I'm trying, let me think how to explain it. You know, like a bump, like just like even a speed bump, you know how like if you're on a bike or like a skateboard, you could like go up it and then like kind of lift yourself and then like push back down like when the transition comes back in to get speed.
Yeah.
So instead of like anti-pumping and then losing speed.
Mm-hmm. Makes
so
sense.
It's just using like that stuff.
Yes.
But basically like Tony had briefed me, and then there's people telling me how to do it, and like you get all this info and you're trying to make your body like do the thing, and it's crazy because
you eventually do it.
Yeah. So I like after that, my friend telling me like, I don't know, the same things that he's told me, I was like, I had the epiphany and I did it, and then I was like, okay, this is working. And then pretty much all the people that I was skating with like stopped, like they'd like kind of just like fizzled out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept trying, and then I got close, and then I pretty much just got in a rhythm of like, okay, I'm gonna like do it a couple more times, and then like we'll just like start taking pads out. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, we're on the last pad, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing, I'm sticking to the wall and I'm getting really far. And then it comes to the point like where it's like the last pad, or no, they take it out, and then I was like, okay, yeah, same as before. My friend's like up on top of the roll-in with me, just like hyping me up, and like, I don't know, in the parking lot, everyone's just like, just kind of like watching. And I remember at one point I was even like, Tony, like I need music, and he like pulls up his Tesla and it's just like puts on like his phone, and then just like blasting music out of his car speakers. And like I pretty much like go, and then on the first one I fall before I even get to the top. Like I just like completely just like mess up, and I somehow like bail to the point where I like get all the way around and land in the other side, and I'm okay, which is just like super nuts, because most of the time when people bail before they get to the top, it's just like that's when they have like the worst slam ever.
Not good.
And like the night before, Tony even asked me like, did you guys like, have you seen the slams? And I was like, no, I'm not looking up anything, like I'm just gonna go there tomorrow with like a clean like, and just I'm just gonna do it or whatever, or like I'll figure it out. So I didn't do like any homework on the thing. I was just like, figure it out when I get there.
Okay.
And then on the next one, I like try again, and then I like lean a little too far forward or too far back or something, and I don't make it. And then on the next one, I like make it all the way out, but then I fall like probably 5 feet after it, and everyone like runs up to me like, you did it. And I was like, I did it, but like
not good
I
enough.
didn't get like I didn't get a clean landing. Like, does this even count? Like, you have to do it like, I don't know, in skating there's so like this thing of like you have to get like the roll away. And some people like, technically I did it, but I was like, no, I don't know, I don't think I did it. Did I do it, guys? And like it's a bunch of like, also like there's my friends there, like Aaron and Jaws, who are on Birdhouse, and they're like street skaters too. And so I'm just like, but guys, like does it even count? And then they're like, well, do you want to keep like Tony's like, do you want to keep going? I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And so then I like go back up there and I do more of like the like leaning too far forward, leaning too far back, and then by like the 5th or 6th one I like make it out, and I'm like rolling across the parking lot, and it's just like, it's done. And then I like look back, and everyone's just like Tony, like he like ran and threw his phone, like threw his phone in the air, and like I don't know, no one even like filmed it on a real camera. Like it was only like iPhone footage because
No way.
it wasn't like a thing I was just going there to just do it. Like it wasn't about like I didn't set up a film or anything because I was just like, whatever.
Is it the type of thing now that you've done it, you feel like, oh, I don't need to ever do it again? Or you're like, oh no, I want to do it again because it was such an accomplishment?
It's one of those things like if the incentive was there, I could do it again and like rationalize it, but just doing it for the sake of doing it, like I'm good on that. Like the risk factor is so high on it. It's not like I don't know, like it can, if you just like mess up on it, like it will like obliterate you. And that's like, that's one of the reasons why the loop is so like infamous, is because like there's so many like people that have tried it. There are amazing skateboarders that it's just like wrecked.
How do you handle the fear factor of skateboarding? Do you feel like that pushes you, like, are you a thrill seeker? Do you feel like that pushes you to try more things, or does it like add to the sense of accomplishment? How does fear factor into your skating?
I mean, for like in the case of the loop, at the point whenever I figured out like the technique and I was like starting to figure it out, I was like, okay, like right now I have to decide if I'm willing to take whatever slam that could come out of this. Like I had already just like committed that like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like I might get obliterated. And
Makes sense.
I knew that I probably couldn't, if I had like the slams that like that thing usually gives people, like I'd probably be done for like a bit. Like I would be like, I don't know. It's like pretty messed up. But I was just like, no, like you just have like this mindset of like, if you just do it first try, like I don't know, like if you just make it and like don't like completely fuck up, like, and just do it, you'll make it.
So it's worth it. It's worth the risk.
Yeah, but it's also just gauging it. Like, I don't know, like you just kind of have to like, at that point in time, I was like, this is the best time in history to ever do this, is like right now, because I'm only going to get older and I don't want to have to come back to this thing. Like it was like a huge part of it. Like it's so much harder like the second time to come back to something, or like, I don't know, like if you're trying a trick or like trying to achieve something, it's like if you just do it first go and like fully commit and like give it your all, like that is best case scenario.
Yeah, totally. So I want to touch on the Olympics a little bit. You're dual citizen of Finland and the US, and you're going to be representing Finland next year in Tokyo. What was your initial reaction to skateboarding being included in the Olympics?
So I remember like people just talking about it, like even when I first got into skateboarding, but it was so far away that I was like, oh, I guess we'll see. Like, and it wasn't until like a bit before they're like, okay, like it's in the Olympics. And I don't know, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out. And as it gets closer, like it all kind of gets more real. Because I think in the beginning, people were just like, I don't know, just chattering and just saying whatever opinions they have on the Olympics. And I don't know, it's just funny because there's all these people like anti-Olympics, and I totally get it. Like,
yeah,
to everything.
Explain that a little bit, how people are anti-Olympics because they think it's like too mainstream for skateboarding to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, competition skateboarding and like the Olympics, like it will change skateboarding, and I think that it's just gonna like put it out, like it'll put it out there to so many more people that like kind of it wouldn't really be on their radar to. And I don't know, for anything, like I think it just needs to continue to like grow and like evolve. But there's like, I don't know, skateboarders are so critical, and they like are so like, I want to say like skateboarders are the first to like tear each other apart. Like they're always like, I don't know, like for as inclusive and like cool as skateboarding is, everyone's really opinionated.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating.
And like I think there's a good portion of skateboarders that are willing to just like say like, oh yeah, like skateboarding should die before it goes to the Olympics. Which I
Wow.
don't necessarily think is the answer. But I get it in the sense of like skateboarding is like for some people like it's a form of like free like creative expression, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was like so enthralled with it in the first place. And like I don't think any of that's going away. I think if anything it's just going to broaden the audience. And like I don't know, I feel like skateboarding has given so much to me, and I don't know, I think it's my lifestyle at this point. And I don't know, like to anyone else like in the world, if they have access to something like a skateboard and can like find meaning in their life through that, like that's amazing. And like there's even just like the community in skateboarding, like it's so cool that like you can go to another country and go skate wherever and like find local skaters there and like have a good time and maybe not even be able to talk to them, but have skating as like the way you guys talk to each other.
Universal language.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Do you let people's opinion of the Olympics affect what you're thinking about it? Or are you
I
trying to
mean,
just be excited and like be like, oh, this is going to be a great opportunity for the sport?
I feel like I see the worries and stuff, but then in the end, I feel like I just make the decision that is like best for like me personally, because like skateboarding is so different to each person. Like their like relationship with it, it's almost like people's connection to music. Like everyone has their own tastes, and like I don't know, you don't just because your friends like certain like types of music doesn't mean that you have to like the same types of music. You can like other, you don't even have to like your friends' types of music. That like, I don't know, it's just that in fact that makes music more cool because there's all these different like ways to go about it. And like, I don't know, it's continually evolving. And in the end, I think it's just going to open it up to like, hopefully there's going to be more like people getting into skating, and then like it's just going to diversify and there'll be like just so many other cool things to get into.
For sure. Well, I know you're going to be competing for Finland, but I'll be cheering you on and hope that you get a gold medal because that'd be pretty sweet. So to wrap up, we have 2 repeat questions that we do with everybody. So the first one is, they say work hard, get lucky. How much of your success is predicated on luck?
I feel like in skateboarding, there's definitely a bit of luck, but I don't know. I want to say luck is kind of just like also believing, like believing that things are going to work out or believing that you're like good enough, or it's like a mix of all that. So definitely like luck in that sense.
Do you have a number percentage that you could put to it? Hard work versus luck?
Um, I want to say in skateboarding, it's like this weird mix just because like most of the time the people that are really talented, I don't know, like it's usually the people that are like more hardworking that like make it. But then obviously there is like like phenomenal, like people that are just like phenomenal and like just stupid good. I don't know what the percentage would be though.
You can 60-40, 75-25, 50-50?
No, it's not 50-50. I'm trying to I would say I don't know. I honestly just don't know.
All right, we won't make you put a number to it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Last question. So you've accomplished so much already. You're a trailblazer in this space. Where do you want to go next, and how do you keep pushing?
I mean, right now I feel like the Olympics is like the next thing on my list, and then I don't know, I guess I'll just continue skateboarding even after the Olympics. Like nothing's changed. I don't know. I feel like I just switch gears, and even right now, like everything's postponed, and you just kind of like take a step back. And I don't know. I'm still skating, still pushing myself, and I don't know, just taking things as they come.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Thank you so much for your time today. This has been such a wonderful conversation. I feel like I learned so much, and I love hearing about you being a trailblazer and just pushing the sport and, representing for females everywhere. So thank you for today.
Thank you. I appreciate it too.